a new session right away. And please, yeah, and thanks for recording the session. And probably we're gonna have 2 sessions and maybe 10-15 minutes of a third session. No? So 2 full sessions and 1 last to tell you in the last session mostly about the work for these days, no? Until Thursday when it's our second class. Okay, so I'd like to ask Hugo to please display on the screen this document, alternatives in assessment. It's the second part of Unit 1, no? Because Unit 1 was kind of long. I divided it in 2 parts because it's the only way that I can upload it to
alternatives in assessment. Is in the WhatsApp group, bro.
Yes, it's in the WhatsApp room. Yes.
Is the article that Abby shared, right?
No, that's the article that she shared is in PDF. That's a different one. Let me see. This document was sent 12 de diciembre around 6 o'clock. 5 by Mester. I dice 5 by Mester, Unit 1B.
Alternatives in assessment. There is one here.
Exactly. When you open it, the first thing you can read is alternatives in assessment. Yeah, that's.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, alternatives in assessment here. This one, right?
Yes, that's it. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, great. So, like I said, I hope that you guys could read something. I'm gonna try and maybe summarize some of the ideas here. Although this particular document is like a summary of what you have in a little bit in the book, a little bit in the video, okay. But anyway, no, I'm going to do my best. But if you feel that something is not very clear, you go ahead in your free time and you read, no, more analytically. You read for details. You read for main ideas, etc. Great. So first, okay. So when we talk about alternatives in assessment, what are we talking about? I would like to start by checking what you know or what you think the topic is about.
Maybe some ways or strategies that we can use when we want to assess our students.
Yes, and especially when we want to find ideas for informal assessment, no? Well, informal, but it could be also a little bit of formal and also formative, no? We want to know more about this type of assessment that goes on every day, no? Well, as you know pretty well that teachers in general are not motivated, are not optimistic, no, about assessment in general, no? And if you can contrast with what I'm saying with the article, no, that Abby shared, the general conclusion is that teachers have a really negative attitude towards assessment, no, for many reasons. No? The article mentions some, no. For example, the fact that teachers don't have very good preparation, they haven't received proper training in assessment, okay. they complain that it's not useful, that it's not practical, because they usually have big classrooms, no, 40, 50 students. Yeah, and for many other reasons. No, the reasons are explained more in detail in the study, no, conducted in some countries, and in the article in general. Right. So when we talk about alternatives, we mean other options, no, that are not the typical, for example, exam, no, at the end of the unit, or just wait 1 month, no, to have the midterm exam and then the final exam, no, because this type of exams we know are only summative, no. Okay, we just want to know the grade, right? Regardless, no, sin importar how much our students really have learned, no? And great, and so some alternatives, for example, like I can say in general, no? The document also mentions some of them, no? For example, the paragraph number 2.4. Okay, but there's somebody with his speakers, microphone. Would you please? Thank you. Yeah, I think. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, in paragraph 4, as you can see there, you know, some ideas suggested in the video, for example, are oral questioning, teacher observation, student self and peer assessment, role plays, oral presentations, portfolios. Those are some examples of alternatives in assessment. Rather than just using, like I said, the typical exam, no? However, the study, no? The study that is about the study, I have to make a correction. I want you, maybe Hugo, because you're the host now. El artículo realmente se llama EFL Primary School Teachers' Attitudes, and then you put knowledge and skills in alternative assessment. That's the name of the article, no? So you put knowledge right next to attitudes. Can you do that? Take the word knowledge. Take the word knowledge. Take the word knowledge.
Yeah, let me. Okay, alternatives, blah blah blah. Yeah,
because if you have time to open the PDF, the document that Abby sent, the title is EFL Primary Teachers Attitude, blah blah blah. No, yeah. So you have to correct the name. Of the
this one here.
Exactly. Yes, the name is EFL Primary School Teachers Attitude, knowledge and skills in alternative assessment. If you write this in the browser, the first option is the document, no? Yeah, but you also have it now. You have it now in WhatsApp, so much better. Okay, and so when reading the document, no, what we learn from this is that teachers are reluctant to use alternatives, no, in assessment, because they have little preparation, because they think it's a waste of time, because they are maybe very accustomed, no, to doing one thing. They don't want to implement changes. Sometimes for their own beliefs, no. We know that beliefs can create some biases, no. So algunos prejuicios, and so people don't want to change, no. And we as humans, teachers as humans, are no stranger to that, no. Great, and so I would like to refer to paragraph number 3, no? It says that the article focuses basically on female teachers. I'm not really sure that it's only female, because I read the first 5, 6 pages, Maybe in the next pages they present the results, but I think it's for both male, female teachers, ¿no? Lo que sí, como es más, the study was conducted more with primary teachers, but you might want to investigate a little more if it happens, if the same happens with high school teachers. No, but I think it's pretty much the same. No, maybe because in primary high school education, controlling discipline is more difficult. So I think it's the same. We, when dealing with a lot of students, maybe one threat, no, una amenaza que funciona is you say, okay, this is for your exam, no? And so the next day or Friday, you have to give them an exam because sometimes it's the only option you have for them to study. So I think it's very similar here in regard with high school, no? High school teachers. Okay, so then we have this next paragraph, number 4, no? Where the person in the, what the authors of the document. I think also the guy in the video also mentioned something about alternatives, no? For example, teacher observation, role plays, presentations, portfolios, etc. As a good alternative, not as good options. Yeah, and then you have the link for the video. If you watch the video, it is the speaker, no, is knowledgeable, no, knowledgeable of the topic. He has quite some experience in many countries, no? And so I think he's qualified to do this presentation, which was very, very useful and very revealing. No? Great, but I want to ask you, because of course, ultimately, who's going to practice, who's going to put this into practice is you, no, or you guys as teachers. So what can you say about the experience that you have or you've had in assessing? No, what is your view about alternatives in assessment?
For example, sometimes it is it is better to ask your students if they have understood the topic, but not to overuse this technique. So, for example, So, for example, this kind of interrogating your students about if they understood or not but by creating some specific questions is very useful, and it saves you a lot of time rather than making a test and stuff like that.
Very good. Very good. I can relate what you have just mentioned, Hugo, right? With, for example, the first example in this passage, no, oral questioning. No, so oral questioning is a powerful tool that we have as teachers that we can, of course, improve. No? That we can day by day implement in our classes. No, it's practical. You don't need to spend, like you said, hours creating exams or something. With some proper questions, you can find out if students understand the topics, if students have read something that you asked them to, if they understood well a passage that they read or that they heard on a recording or anything. No? So, and of course we have to be, well, I think and for me, it's more like I see this as an ability that you can improve, no? Maybe some people are more natural talkative, no? They're more talkative, more sociable, and so they find it easier to ask questions. But I think it's also something that you can improve with practice. Great, but it's a good example of what you can do, and like Diego said, Hugo said, also something that you should not do. Great. Can we have another view, please? Another participant. The question is the same. What do you think, from your experience, are some good options or some good alternatives in assessment?
Prof.
Yes.
I think that nowadays, or when before COVID-19,
Yeah.
It was very difficult for teachers try to assess, as to be more specific, in public institutions or public schools.
Yeah.
Because as you know, this kind of institution or schools don't have resources, technological resources.
Yes.
So it is very limited, or is a limitation for a teacher when he's trying to assess in an innovative way.
Yes.
So I believe that assess is very useful. Informal assessment is very useful, and formal too, but in public institution it's very difficult try to do this, because as you know, a teacher needs to show results, so that's why they prefer to do tests, because with tests they will have a score and they will have evidence.
Yes, that's another reason, no? Yes.
Yeah, that's why I think it is very difficult try to practice a very good assessment or a innovative way to assess in public institutions.
Great. No, good, no? And it comes from I guess, no, from someone that has experienced, no? From someone who has lived some experiences in public institutions. And I'm sure that if I ask every one of you and students in other classes that are in public institutions, I'm sure they have the same view, no? And it's something that is not, for example, in the article, no? Because the article mentions reasons, no? But they don't mention the administrative part, no? In our system, lamentablemente, maybe because it's our culture, or I don't know, just the way we are. But here, everybody asks you for paper, no? Everybody asks you for evidence. Everybody asks you for the same document over and over again, no? It happens also at the university, no? And so one reason, now that I think about your example, one reason is that the teachers have a tremendous load of work, no? Tienen tanta carga de trabajo that, and so much is required from them, no? Documents, las calificaciones, las libretas, las notas, and so they go crazy, no? And so they know that if they give a test, no, the test is evidence, like you said, and so they find it more practical, no? And more useful in the long term, no? The long term. So that's another reason administrative processes are so long here, no? In our system. Thank you very much. No, so I wish that we had time to ask every one of you, because I'm sure you would all come up with very good experiences and that everybody needs to hear, you know? And so people feel identified when talk about them. Right. I want to refer a little bit to the document here. That relates to the topic here, no? But maybe for that, we can open the, yeah, I guess, yeah, because the next topic is the activity, and the activity tells you that you can use this information to make your own mind maps. So maybe we can close this document now and open the PDF, just to look at some things that I personally underlined in my PDF, you know, that I want to bring to your reflection. So, Hugo, can you please
share the PDF?
Share this document? Yes, the PDF, EFL, primary school teachers' attitudes and that. No?
This one, right?
Yes. But this is only the abstract, and okay, this is the abstract. If you go on, yeah, okay, keep going, abstract. Let me see that. Yeah, go on to the next page. No, introduction. No, here in the introduction. Go back to introduction here.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. Okay. So I underline, for example, here that the study, this present study. No? Maybe you can put the cursor there. The present study is interested in classroom-based assessment, ¿no? So classroom-based assessment es lo que hacemos como profesores de una aula, ¿no? That's classroom-based assessment, which refers to local, non-standardized assessment carried out by classroom teachers. So every teacher has his own preferred, activities, favorite activities that he uses for assessment, ¿no? Entonces, la primera característica is that they are not standardized, no? They're non-standardized, right? And so in the next, then we have 3 lines after that. Then we have example activities, no? Example activities of this alternative thinking assessment are, for example, oral questioning, teacher observation, student self and peer assessment, role plays, presentations, portfolios. No? Portfolios. I don't know if you have experience doing this. No? Have you used in your classes one or some of these activities in class?
Basically all of them. Yeah, we have participated in these activities, but I think that most of us haven't actually prepared most of them. Yeah, we have participated, but we don't know how to organize them.
Yeah, but you, I mean, the question was, you as a teacher, no, or in the time that you were a teacher, or now that you're a teacher, did you prepare, for example, a teacher observation list, for example, maybe student self and peer assessment activity? I'm sure that everybody uses role plays. It's very common.
Role plays, yeah.
Portfolios I guess yes, because porque siempre nos piden, ¿no? En colegios, ¿no? So I guess. But oral questioning, observation sheet, student self and peer assessment, have you used those?
Oral questioning, yeah. Teacher observation, I haven't used it yet because when I taught in high school, I never use a rubric, you know.
Rubric, rubric.
A rubric. So yeah, what I would call teacher observation was very informal, to say it in a way.
Yeah, great. Okay, great. Okay, so well, these are just some activities, some ideas, no? Of course, when you get together with friends, with colleagues, no, a lot of ideas come up. Most of the best ideas come up from the experience that your colleagues share with you, ¿no? Creo que es la fuente, the best, no? Even better than going to the article and reading and Googling. The best source of material and ideas are your friends, your colleagues. Great, and so, and then in the next line of this same paragraph, we have activities, en cambio, que son summative, no? Is summative, so the typical exam, the typical quiz, no? In the last two lines, no? Example activities, no? Or summative assessment are, for example, if you can highlight this. Sorry, I think I lost the part.
Where?
Can we go back to the document?
Yeah. To the document, Word document. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's here. I touched the wrong option. Yeah. And so examples of summative assessment, these selected response items. So the typical multiple choice. Okay, multiple choice, brief constructed response. No. Answer questions, essay questions, etc. No, I don't know if you can think of more examples of summative assessment. Can you come up with some more examples?
Prof, sorry, maybe would you like to use, the roulette? I can.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so let me see. I have it in my cell phone. No, it says. Let me check which number. Okay, number 7 is Gabriela Guaita. Here.
Gabby, yeah. Hi, Gabby, how are you?
Hello, Professor.
Hello. So I just want you to think about examples of quizzes or exams or activities that you think are summative, no? Of this nature, summative.
So it could be the FCE or the TOEFL, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
That kind of test.
Summative.
Or
Yeah.
the final grade that, for example, the semester that we had always, and also the high school, the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the final exam. We have the midterm exam. No? Maybe you finish 1 or 2 units, and then you have the quiz. No, end of the que le llaman end of the unit quiz. Yeah, all those are examples of summative because the main purpose is to provide the students with a grade, and luego sumar, no, all the grades. And see if the student reaches the minimum grade and and pass, no? Okay, thank you. So those are good examples. However, I'm not very sure about the EF, like you said, the TOEFL and those, because maybe I would put those in the category of standardized proficiency test. No, yeah, proficiency more, because you want to measure if the students really are able, for example, to do a job in English, if they qualify to continue a master's degree in that language. So, and they are not really y no están inmersos en una clase, ¿no? Well, except maybe for some schools with international programs, no? But usually they are more like proficiency tests. Yeah, great. So thank you very much. So I want to now, yes?
Well, according to this part, I know that currently in schools, the final project is going to be, well, the score of the final project will be taken as a final grade for, well, I don't know how to say, en lugar de.
Instead of.
Instead of a final exam.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know that in this time of pandemics, no, a lot of things have changed, and one is that, no, that students only present something that they've done in class, a project, and yeah, and they can pass, no. Yeah. So maybe it's I don't know how good of an idea this is, no. Maybe it's for you guys to decide, analyze, that you that are studying and are future teachers to be, you know? Because maybe I don't think it's the real essence of promoting a student, you know. It's like I'm a little maybe old school, no, in the way that I believe that students need to achieve some level of knowledge, so achievement, no. Students should be given these achievement tests for teachers to decide if they are ready to be promoted, no. But with these new regulations, yeah, maybe everybody's going to pass, no. But what's going to happen next year, no? When students start struggling, you know, with the concepts, if they have a teacher that is more demanding, if students are presented with quizzes and exams, you know, where they have to think and study, it's going to be quite shocking, no? Maybe the results also will be shocking. But this is, well, of course, it's un periodo extraordinario, no? It's not maybe but it's also good grounds for you to start questioning, you know, if our system, if our assessment system is good or is serving the purpose that it's supposed to serve, you know? Great, but that's for debate, no? If then we have in 1990, something I want to point out here is in line number 3, Watt, no, creo que es un escritor, a researcher, no? If you can help me pointing out that, and maybe if your cell phone has, or if your computer has the option to highlight this information. In 2005, no, Watt stated that assessment methods are more frequently used with young language learners, no? Assessment methods are more frequent with young learners. The reason behind the interest, no? The interest assessment is to help in addressing children's uniqueness and varied strength. As language ability is broad and complex, no, to explain, and cannot be accurately measured by traditional tests alone. And so in the next line, in the next page, if we can scroll down one, go on to the next page, page 69. One of these researchers, no, states that, and it's true, no, assessment helps teachers in planning their instruction to suit their learners' needs. And that should be, I guess, I think, for example, if I were you, I would highlight and then underline this statement, no? Because that's what assessment is. No? Assessment helps teachers in planning their instruction to suit their learners' needs. No? Understanding by instruction, ¿no? Que es lo que preparamos para decir, ¿no? That's the instruction. No? So a good teacher, no, should be very observant of what happens when he's giving or proposing assessment, no, and then he transfers this, no, into practical ideas to suit, no, their learners' needs, no, para solucionar las necesidades que tienen. And so, well, so maybe you can underline and then highlight this. Something else about this next paragraph is what we have in the last 3 lines. No, when we have this, indeed, some teachers believe. No, the last 3 lines of this paragraph. Indeed, no? Exactly right there. Indeed, some teachers believe that assessment is subjective and hard to use. Other teachers say that it's time-consuming, especially in large classrooms. In addition, other teachers lack the knowledge to assess their students. So these are the main reasons, no? The main reasons why assessment, no, is muy pobre a veces, no? It's very poor in many institutions, right? And especially, you know, especially in English, no, because apart from the reasons mentioned here, no, for example, the number of the students, the little knowledge of the knowledge of the language and knowledge of the techniques to assess, it's also the fact that people have their own beliefs about teaching English, no? So some teachers and some directors and some coordinators, I would say, maybe, don't think that English is an important subject, no? They don't give the importance that it should have. And so with all these antecedents, no, of course, teachers are demotivated. Teachers don't see it as a useful end, no? And so they do the typical quiz that is in the book, no? Solo cogen, imprimen, yeah, they have the answer key, blah, 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 and sometimes they don't care spending hours and hours and hours correcting, but they know that it's maybe the only way they know, no? So, right, okay, so I want to ask you, what do you think? Why are teachers, many teachers, reluctant to implement new forms of assessment or new alternatives in assessment? Why do you think it happens?
Prof, maybe I consider that most of the teachers do not know how to create a new way to assess the students. Maybe, or it could be because of some reasons. We have to consider that in public institutions, for example, they have a lot of students, so assessing students, it's good, but sometimes, or maybe most of the time, professors, teachers do not have enough time to to do that in the correct way. So they prefer just to use the standardized ways of assessment. And I consider that it could be one reason that why they don't implement some new strategies to assess.
Great. No, you're right. No, you're right. And I think that many of you, maybe you included, at some point have decided, no, to do maybe the easy way, no, because yeah, if you have 50 students, imagine, no, designing some specific questions for some specific kids, because not all kids are the same, so the questions should be different. So it's time that you have to invest, no? However, most teachers don't see it as an investment. They see it as time that is being lost, no? Como dice ahí, no? Others say that it's time consuming. So it's just, it takes a lot of time and maybe nothing in return, no? Great. And so that's why the debate is open, no? So I guess it's just a matter of teachers, no, making the crucial decision to for their personal growth, professional growth, no, to learn, no, to learn about these techniques, because at the beginning it's hard, of course, no, it takes hours and hours of preparation or something, but then as the months go by, you find yourself more practical, no, in using this, more skillful, no, more resourceful, y todo viene así con la práctica, no. But one problem, of course, one problem is training, no, training, yeah, because one thing is that maybe the teacher decides that he needs more training, yes, and finding maybe some teachers are very are ready, maybe, you know, to study, you know, on their own, and there are many online. There are lots of interesting courses, you know, training videos, etc., you know, training sessions, etc., where people can improve. But also teachers, a lot of teachers expect to receive this training at school, or where they work, you know, where they work. And so this doesn't happen, no? Because, you know, they always say that they don't have enough money. The training that English teacher receives is usually the same training that Spanish teachers receive, and that's not good, no? Because if you're teaching English, you need to have all the seminars in English, and with qualified teachers, no? I mean, not necessarily teachers, but with very qualified trainers, no? And for example, in my years of experience, I didn't have this, no? I worked in luckily for me, at least I worked in many private schools, SEC, Metropolitano, Tomás Moro, Letor. And so they, at least in summer, or in summer vacation, at least we had one or two good training programs, no? But others don't have any training, no? And so as you can read in the next paragraph there, it says that in-service training is important, no? In providing teachers with the skills, knowledge, and ways to assess young learners, no? With the shift in assessment from a focus on the traditional methodology to this new methodology, no? Entonces, este in-service teacher training falta, ¿no? Falta en las instituciones. Of course, what we have in the last line, it says, this new trend in assessment requires well-prepared teachers who are able to implement assessment successfully. No? So, well, I don't know if it's happening here. I don't see that there's a a trend, no, a new trend in helping English teachers to become more knowledgeable, no, assessment, no. But if it's happening, I'm very happy, no. But I would like to hear this from you, no. You are working. Some of you are working in public, others in private schools. How do you see this happening today? Do you see that schools are interested in investing in the teachers, in teachers training, in teachers courses? Well, what do you think? Yes.
I knew that I think in public institutions, teachers receive some courses. I don't know if they are related to assessment or things like that, but I don't know how to say, son capacitados.
Yeah, they're trained, no?
Yes, they are trained, but I don't know in assessment, in how to assess students. I don't know. I haven't asked my teacher about this, but I don't know. But I consider prof that if teachers want to implement assessment in new strategies in assessment, I don't know if it is viable to know your group well or not, because for example, what happened if I teach my students, I don't know if I have to teach my students all the levels in high school. I don't know if it is going to be good, because maybe some of my students are going to be tired of seeing me, of being
Yeah.
taught by me. But I consider that this could be a well strategy, because I knew how each of my students work. Maybe I can consider maybe some strategies that I can implement to assess them. But in other way, in the other hand, I don't know if it could be a good idea, because maybe, as I said before, they could be tired. And I think that me too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. No, very good questions, no, that you bring up, no, to the discussion. Yeah, no. Like you said, no, on the one hand, it would be great, no, for the purpose of providing feedback, no, for the same students that you had, for the purpose of working in a more, maybe in a friendlier environment. It would be great to have the same students year after year, so they get used to your methodology, you know their weaknesses, and so you can implement changes and great, you know, of course. But on the other hand, maybe if there's not much empathy, or if you are not trained properly in the techniques, students might get tired or bored. They might want to experience new teachers. And so, yeah, it's I guess it's what we deal with every day, no? Sometimes working even with the same kids doesn't guarantee that it's going to work out just fine. Good point. Also, what I can say in my experience is that, yeah, I am more, yo soy más partidario, for example, the same teacher teaching 2 levels in a row, 2 or 3 in a row, because like you said, no, he knows his students better. The students feel more confident. They have created a bond, no, of trust and confidence. And so some schools do that, no? Some schools, no, they just rotate teachers, or because this teacher is required here, they move it. They take one teacher from primary and send it to secondary, not calculating the risks. And there's too much rotation. No? Or in other schools, it's peor. No? muchas escuelas el profesor se va, and then you have to take a class that is not really your class. You're only a sub teacher, but then after 3 months, no, you're still the sub teacher because schools don't want to pay they don't want to hire a new teacher. And so that's maybe another reason why teachers decide not to learn, no, digamos, no, or not to implement creative ways because they just have too much work, no? Too much work. Great. So I know that the administrative problems are a huge are huge heavy load, you know, that we have to bear upon our shoulders. We have to learn to deal with that. Great. And so what I see, what I have here in the next paragraph was, let me see where was training teachers. Now I want to point out only the first 3 lines here, which are really, really relevant. No? Teacher training, as I was saying before, is one step forward, no? Paso adelante, y one step towards, and one step towards professionalism. Being the implementers of a curriculum, no? Teachers' attitudes are as crucial as their performance, no? So of course, now maybe you have a teacher that is very well qualified, no? Yeah, but if you think about this scenario, no? The school hires a very qualified teacher, no? And then, of course, he can do this job, right? But they put him, for example, to teach students of, classes of 50 students, no break, okay? Y le dicen que llene reportes cada día and all those things, right? So the teacher is qualified, but his attitude, no, is going to change because he's just he's going to be too exhausted, no, by the end of the day. And on top of that, if he has a very low salary and too much responsibility, so probably his attitude won't be just as good. And so that's what it means, that attitudes are just as important as a performance. No? The attitudes reflect, no, deep-rooted beliefs. Teachers' beliefs about assessment also affect their classroom assessment practice. Now, what I just what I mentioned at the beginning, no, at the introduction, when opening this document, no, it believes, no, aunque uno no crea, no, redundant as it may sound, no, beliefs have an important role, no. It's amazing that when you talk to people, to teachers that have worked for 20, 30 years in the same place, you know, they already have their own beliefs and their own philosophy, no? And it's very difficult to change their views, no? So if they believe strongly that informal assessment is not necessary, they just won't use it, no? Because they have been doing the same for 30 years and they're not going to change one day, no? So that's also important, no? To take into consideration. Well, of course, in your case, because you're young, you know, and you're brand new teachers, okay, hopefully you will have the best attitude. You will have maybe, well, of course, your positive beliefs about teaching and about assessing, you know, and that will help you all along your career as a teacher. Pero sí, da pena que that other teachers, no, don't want, they are reluctant to change. They will never change because they say, no, it's the way, this is what I believe, this is the way I do it, and they don't change. acknowledge and invest it. Yeah, and the last line here is, I'm just going to read the last one. It says, for teachers to implement assessment successfully, their positive attitudes towards assessment should be acknowledged and invested. So what it means is that si nosotros fuéramos directores, ¿no? If you had your own school, if you want to have an excellent reputation for your school, no, you have to invest in your teachers, no? It's obvious, no? And you have to recognize and acknowledge, no, when the teacher is well trained, when a teacher is doing his or her very best. You should acknowledge and provide these teachers with public recognition, no? And invest in their education. But unfortunately, other schools don't do that. You know? They ask everything from the teacher, no? And they only point out their mistakes, and they never invest. But they obligate teachers. They say you have to get more diplomas, more certifications. No, so that's what this passage. That's why this passage is important. No? That you as a teacher, no, should look for opportunities where your directors or coordinators invest in the group of teachers, no, that you are part of. And of course, this is usually not easy. You have to insist and insist and ask the coordinator. Hay que mandar oficios. You look for money. You look for sometimes for other institutions because it's cheaper. Yeah, but it's our job, no? Because the more training we get on specific things, the better, no? The better for us and for the institution. Great. Yeah, well, the next one is not very important, no? Because I read this section, but it's only the preparation. I mean, it's an explanation of where, no, they decided to conduct the study, no? Por eso ahí hablan de education in Kuwait, but really you don't need to read that section. No? What you can see here is on the next page, no? If we can scroll down a little bit, please. Assessment of English in primary schools, no? Great. Yeah, as you can see, now typically and especially in the past, in primary, assessment was divided into, as you can see, there are daily assessments, which was more about oral assessment, no? Little short quizzes, written exams. And this applied to all grades, now from 1st to 5th, 6th grade. Pretty much maybe what it was like here years ago, no? Then in the second paragraph at the end, now the last 3 sentences, we have this: in addition to the regular ongoing assessment, pupils are assessed at the end of the period exams in vocabulary, grammar, language functions, and set book. Well, this is more the reality in this area, no? Se habla un poco de the group that is being studied, no? Here, primary schools, and of course, las encuestas, the surveys were prepared for primary teachers, no? Primary teachers, basically. Now, okay, so what they discovered, you know, and I think it's very similar to what has happened here in Ecuador, you know, that schools began to receive complaints, no, from teachers, parents, about the low levels of the students, no, the low levels of performance, especially in grade 4 and 5, no? And so that's when they decided to change, no, and they decided to return to traditional assessment methods, no, in which the emphasis was on written tests. And so back and forth, you know, in these countries, they went from one method to another, and then back to the first one, no, because they thought that the traditional method was better, no. So giving quizzes, classwork, end of the unit test, no, to and with the purpose of assessing students in all areas, no, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, I suppose, no. Well, luego explica, speech was not included, no, in the assessment, but as you can see in the last line, it says speech, however, is not included in the new assessment for all grades, and listening comprehension is not included for grades 4 and 5. Well, I don't know really how this, I mean, if this relates or matches, no, if this matches or mirrors the situation here in Ecuador, no, but I think schools have also have gone around, you know, looking for best methods, you know, for assessing students, no, and maybe in their quest, no, they have encountered difficulties, no, because obviously finding the best ways to assess a student is not easy. You know? It's not easy in first world countries. No, it's not easy in developing countries like Ecuador. It's never been easy. Right. Okay. And so as you can see, this this article, as you can see, is a perfect example of academic article written in a rigorous way, you know, but at the same time, I think it's kind of interesting and friendly the way that they present the antecedents, you know, how the language that is used. I think it's pretty clear. You know, I hope I know that you guys understand everything, right? And so it's a good example of a good article, you know? And since you are also in this level in the next learning to academic writing, and maybe because you have to write your thesis in English now, so take this as a good example, you know, of how to, como los pasos van, no? From the abstract, introduction, right? And then the group of people that where you're going to conduct the research, and also for example, here, es como que también presenta el antecedente, ¿no? Right, and then you go on to the reality now, and then you have a statement of the problem, no? So following all the steps in academic articles, no, and research, no, research. Okay, so what we see here, no, we're going to go on to, I think we're going to do one more. This number 4, okay? And I'm going to, and then for homework, I'm going to give you these 3 days for you to finish reading the article, and especially the conclusions, the last section, and see how the topics here and the problem described here can help you in a way maybe overcome some problems in your own school, no? In your own school. Yeah, so what I can say about a statement of a problem is what we have here, no? In the last two lines, no? It says this has detrimental effects on pupil achievement and motivation. In the same way, no, likewise, teachers' attitudes towards assessment play a major role in their willingness to implement reform. No? So again, no, referring to the same problem, no, that teachers don't have a motivation, mentioning that teachers don't feel that they are prepared for the job, you know, for the responsibility. Hay muestra unos números que son preocupantes, no? It says in the last two decades, research has reported that teachers' assessment skills are generally weak, no? So imagine 2 decades, no, that they have been teaching, and I'm sure here in Ecuador the same, maybe 3 decades that we've been teaching in the same traditional way, never assessing our students properly, never promoting more critical thinking, never promoting more creativity, right? Just the typical quiz, memorize the dialogue, memorize the presentation, and that's all. And so this, of course, affects, ¿no? También, y afecta también a los alumnos, ¿no? Pupil achievement and motivation. Great, and that's the problem that is going to be studied here. And so then in the next paragraph, no, it's interesting because paragraph, because they say that in, for example, in Kuwait, where they have done the let's say the research, no, they decided to try the portfolio assessment, no. So they decided to introduce a portfolio assessment to the primary stage, no? To the primary stage, right? As you know, portfolio, what means to select some pieces of work, you know, that the student has done. And so what they get in the portfolio is usually the grade that they get in the report card, ¿no? Entonces se quitan, se suprimen los exámenes o la formalidad del examen y eso. And so what happened here is when they introduced the portfolio assessment, what happened is that the students, no, knowing that they don't need to pass exams, no, and that they eventually will be promoted to the next grades, students and parents didn't take education seriously. No? Parents had no need to control their kids because they or help them to prepare exams because they didn't have exams. No? Okay, and so pupils were not motivated. No, in addition to this, pupils were not motivated to study. Okay, and okay, so and so the last part here, the last 3 lines are the conclusion. No? So driven by concern, if you can help me, Hugo, pointing this in the cursor, driven by concern, no? Can you help me with that? Maybe highlighting in this paragraph, go to the next paragraph, the last 3 lines, no? The last 3 lines. Driven by concern, that one, yeah. So driven by concern about the role of alternative assessment in pupil learning, this study seeks to find out about teachers' attitudes, knowledge, and skills in alternative assessment. So finding out that will help teachers, will help teachers in planning suitable training in alternative assessment skills in which teachers' attitudes are explored and addressed. So this is the motivation of that the writer found, no, when she saw this big problem in Kuwait. I don't know if it's he or she decided to conduct this research, no. I'm sure that you can see eye to eye with this, with the writer of this, no. Sometimes estas políticas, no, that the governments decide to implement, sometimes they are for the worse, no. I mean, they decide to go back to some kind of assessment, but because they don't have the experience, they don't have the resources. And so, so it's important, no, that you as teachers also, sometimes if you see that a problem is recurrent in your school, you try and report this to the authorities, and hopefully you will find there maybe a good option for you to do some research, maybe to grow professionally, to be provided with better training, you know? And of course, assessment is one big area, no, where there's a lot to be researched and where you can do a lot. Now, of course, if the authorities listen to you, if you make yourself visible and if you make yourself useful, I'm sure that they will listen to you. No? Great. Okay. And so this the author decided that the attitude, no, is one big problem, no, that teachers have, and she decided to investigate more on why this happens, explore this, no, and address the problem as it should be, no, as it should be addressed. Okay, so I'm sure that, well, maybe by grasping some by digging a little bit, you know, or scraping, no, así, raspando un poco the concepts. I hope you find it interesting and decide to keep reading, no? Maybe it's not very related to the topics in the program, but always reading articles provides us with lots of insights, no? And these documents are scientifically proven, they are academic, you know, so I hope you find them useful and read it all to the end. Great, and so we'll be discussing this on Thursday, no? On Thursday. Great. Now I would like to point out. I would like to ask Hugo, sorry, to play the video. Okay. I want you to put it at the beginning.
Oh, at the video? You mean the video right now? Okay.
Video,
okay.
yeah. There's a video that is called, yeah, if you put in YouTube, alternatives in assessment, the first video where you see the face of this professor, no, he's a little bald, a little chubby. Yeah, you click there, exactly. And great, because this is exactly what I want you to, this is where I want you to stop, no? Justo en este, I want you to freeze, no? Freeze the picture here, because I want you to look at this, no? Alternatives in assessment, because he prepared very well for this video, and so he summarized the 10 points that his video covers, no? In the alternatives in assessments. Yeah. So what did he say about alternatives in assessments? What do you recall? Ahí tienen esta guía, no? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the things that he mentions in his video. But what can you say?
Would you like me to use the roulette, Prof, again? Okay, we'll use the roulette. Let me see. Let me see.
Okay. Let's give it a try. No?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Number 4, Alex Alvear.
Thank you. Alex, did you have the chance to watch the video? Because it would be unfair to ask you if you didn't watch the video, no?
Hello, teacher.
Yes.
I
Did
really
you watch the first part?
Just the first part, but just a few minutes.
And what do you remember? Tell us what you remember. It's okay.
Well, the I could see was that there are some alternatives in order to assess students. For example, what I could say. Trying to not to follow the traditional way that the teacher used to assess the students, but trying to focus on the behavior of them. No, that yes. I think is the most important part.
Okay, good.
And that's
okay.
that I could see that I could understand just the first part.
Yeah, great. Oh, okay, great. No, I'm glad that at least you had you had the chance to watch the first few minutes. Yeah. Well, the video is very long. It's 28 minutes. So I don't blame you. I don't blame anybody for not watching this. But when we finish the class, please, if you have some time, watch it or watch it tomorrow morning, because it's very useful. No, it's very useful. And he presented it in a friendly way con estos cuadritos. Luego presentó otro cuadro, and so it's easy, no, to follow that way. Well, a little summary would be what you see in this on the screen now, no? That if you think about alternatives in assessment, they should be presented in a way that they require student creativity, no, and a student production, no? So don't give them the same, for example, the same exercise that is proposed in the book, no? Don't give all the groups the same activity, no? You can give one activity to one group, another for another group, maybe, no? But always promoting students' creativity and production. Secondly, he suggested, no, employing or using authentic contexts, no? For example, aquí había algo importante, no? For example, he mentions that in his experience, he has seen many times, no, and he has read exams that non-native teachers have prepared, no? And so, because he is a native speaker, no, Professor Tusi, Dr. Frank Tusi, because he's a native speaker, he says that he has found a lot of mistakes, no? and a lot of inconsistencies in the exams, or in the language, or in the way that they are presented, or in the use of expressions, etc. No? So he says, no, if you're going to prepare something, no, for students, take real context, no? For example, he says, if you are not an expert in writing, no, take a video, no? Take an article from the newspaper, no? Take a magazine, or an excerpt from a book or something, because that is authentic language, no? Or take a real interview, no? And present that, because that's authentic context. Porque dice, cuando uno se pone a inventar, Y si no es native speaker, ¿no? Then you're presenting a quiz that has a lot of inconsistencies, ¿no? Y esa es tu presentación, ¿no? If you are created the quiz, make sure that it's authentic, no? So the students don't find mistakes in your writing, in your, yeah. And number 3, hay que hacer una corrección, because number 3 says are an extension of classroom activities, no? But I'm sure that he mentioned that they don't have to be necessarily an extension of classroom activities, no? You can think of other, well, that maybe they relate to the topic, but they are not the typical classroom activities, no? But you have to watch it carefully, you know, and maybe I'm wrong. I just had I also have very little time because I was also, I had so much to deal with here. Yeah. Then he mentions number 4, no, assessing normal classroom activity. Number 5, meaningful and instructional tasks. Of course, so again, no, that the activity that you propose has to be meaningful. No? That you can do it in the normal class activity. You don't need to give a date and say, well, you're going to prepare. No, it has to be like a normal classroom activity. Mientras más normal y natural, better, no? Number 6 is very important. No? It refers back to number 1, no? Because in the process, in the development of the activity, you focus on both, no? Product and the process. And so he mentions that typically, you know, sometimes teachers decide that they just want to have a nicely done project because they want to present it in an open house, and they don't care about the process. And what happens oftentimes is that, for example, teachers, no, other students do, or his family, you know, end up doing, for example, the writing, you know, for something, right? And so teacher forgets to pay attention also to the process. Or sometimes other teachers only pay attention to the process, and they don't care about what happens at the end, as long as the students are following the steps. No? But he says that to be more consistent, no, we as teachers should focus on both product and process. And then number 7, he says, employs that make sure that the activity employs HATS, no? And HATS stands for higher order. Let me see, I have in my notes here. Higher order thinking skills, no? Higher order thinking skills. So always propose, ask, implement, use frequently, all the time, questions that promote students' thinking, no? There's an interesting, there's interesting literature about this, no? That sometimes we as teachers always repeat the same questions, use questions that are too easy, that do not que no promueven más pensamiento, no? We ask them, for example, what did you do last week? And what did you do last week is only, it doesn't require thinking. No? The student only has to recall some information, invent, yeah. But in high order thinking skills, you ask the student to really think, you know, critically, and use the language, but in using, making connections with the brains, y haciendo un esfuerzo, ¿no? Entonces, hay que pensar en ese tipo de actividades for alternatives, ¿no? In assessment. This of course, these activities can be very useful because they will ultimately provide teachers with diagnostic information, useful for future changes in the instruction. These activities should take into account multiculturalism. If you have different groups of people from different cities, from different ethnicities, of course we have to respect that.
It does.
And finally, he says that it's important, it's important that you, as a teacher, you get the students to perform the activity, and finally you disclose the ratings, So what he means is that at the end of all this activity, you talk to the students and you say, well, we have conducted this, or I have conducted this assessment, and so I want to point out that this and this such and such are really strong points, but you have to work on this and this, and so you disclose the information, because this can be very useful. The students will receive it if you do it professionally, and through a process where everybody has invested time and effort, and they have invested hours of their own effort, they will need to know, and actually they want to know what your appreciation of their work is, and so you have to disclose the ratings and explain to them why and how you came up with the grades. She's que el sistema es ponerles grades, numbers, etc., whatever. But you have to explain that to the students. Okay, great. Well, of course, this is in the first 5-6 minutes. Now then he continues explaining interesting things. So I'm going to leave this also. I'm going to leave you to it so you can watch it, maybe. If more possible tonight after class. I'm about to close the session. And so maybe you can stay a few more minutes and you're on your desk and finish watching the video. And also I'm going to ask you to please do, in the first document that Hugo opened, era este Word, about alternatives in assessment. After alternatives in assessment, we have standards-based assessment and standardized testing. Is only 3-4 paragraphs about that. Then you have an activity. So I want you to do the activity. Que es un cuadro que dice KWL, ¿no? So what you know, what you want to know, and after reading and checking the websites or reading the text, what you have learned. No? It's on page 2, no? It's on page 2 of the first document estaba in Word. And at the end of this, there's a self-assessment. No? I put there a few questions. Okay, I think it's 10 questions. So using the information that you got in the articles, in the documents, no, it's a good opportunity for you to review and prepare, because I'm thinking about it. If we have classes next week, I don't know, but I'm thinking maybe by the end of this year, or maybe in January, I'll give you the first official quiz, no? Que le pondré en la plataforma, no? But I'll let you know. Maybe it's, si tenemos clases, maybe it's on Monday. If not, it's for next year. Okay. So I'm just so sorry that we didn't have enough time, but I think that I have left some basic ideas, and this has awakened your interest. And I hope you're willing to read more and about this interesting but difficult topic and difficult subject, but interesting, no? Interesting and useful, as you can see. Okay, so if you have any questions or anything, I would like to remind you that I'm available anytime. You can text me or call me with any inquiries or questions or requests. Yeah, just let me know. No? And like I said, you have 3 days, so don't wait until your next class, until 5 o'clock next Thursday. No, just take your documents and read them. No, it's the only way. No, we're working online, so you cannot expect everything to be explained in the sessions. It's impossible. And if you have some little time, make the best. Make the very best of that. Self-educate. No, it's a very good alternative. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session. And I'll see you on Thursday, okay?
Okay, Professor, thank you very much.
Thank you guys, no?
See you.
Thank you. See you, everybody. And text me if you have any questions. No? Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.